Breaking down. Face that feeling, I'm not breaking down. Breaking down. Little girl, you gotta dream big. Open. Open.
The open studio.
The bag is just sitting there, might as well feel it. Unleashing the villain, emotions are spilling. Don't act like you know me when I hit a billy, you bitch. Place that ceiling, watch me break it down.
Welcome to the Open Studio presents M. Haverty and a Show for Ghosts. This is the first of what we hope to be many, a special episode where we get to highlight extended pieces of art by members of our community. Tonight we've got M. Haverty, of course, and their film Show for Ghosts. Also, we've got the director James Medley here with us, and we're going to have an extended interview with them after their feature presentation. So if you've got any questions, drop them down in the chat. Sound off. We want to hear your questions, and we'll be able to throw them right at our guests so we can get down to the nitty-gritty of what this is, why do they do it, how does it work, who knows? I don't know, we'll find out. We've also got an amazing opener for you tonight. We've got KJ Whitehead. She's an amazing performer. I'm so happy to have her on the show. I've always been a huge fan of her work, and so it's my pleasure, and I feel very grateful to be giving her the opportunity to appear on our show and showcase that work. If you haven't seen the Open Studio before, welcome. We have a bi-weekly variety show where we host a couple other artists. It's a slightly different format, so if you haven't yet, please hit that follow button down below so you get notified when we go live. The Open Studio is all community-generated art. So this background here, this was made by Jackie Manti. She's one of our producers and community members, and if you want to create backgrounds like this too, hit those links below. Submit, join our Discord, get involved. You can be on this screen too. We want to have you. We want to get to know you. Also, Stephanie Duffy, another one of our producers and assistant director for tonight's show. She's made some of the backgrounds you'll see tonight, like that pre-show card. Very beautiful. So happy to have something special like that for our special guests tonight. Also, we had an intro by Mike Gow, the very talented and musical and funny Michael Gow. And I'm your host, Michael J. Garrity. I'm usually the director, so I'm going to try and keep these things moving along. I'm not a comedian. I'm not funny. I'm just here to facilitate and keep things moving. Well, I think that's out of the way. Oh, the Open Studio, we're open. And we're open to seeing lots of things. We're an open community, but that also means we don't accept any kind of hate of any kind. No racism, no homophobia. We'll get weird, we'll get nasty, but no hate of any kind will be accepted in this community in any way, shape, or form. Well, with that out of the way, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to pass it on over to our amazing opener, KJ Whitehead. Stand by, KJ.
Oh, all right. Well, hello. Hi, everyone. Okay, it's great to see you all. My name is KJ Whitehead. I'm also Queer Lady K in the chat. I do have a Twitch channel where I play video games and stuff, and I scream into a microphone. I'm Queer Lady K. Well, queer because, with a KW because I don't fuck with Q, especially not QAnon. I feel I should mention that for you right off the back. And of course, being Black, I am obligated to say Happy Black History Month, or as some people would call, make white people feel guilty for 28 days. All right, culturally, I'm not obligated to say that. I just wanted to. But we, especially in the city of Chicago, are in our coldest month. This is really harsh winter with harsh winds. And some people don't know how bad it gets here. Well, let me tell you, sometimes you're outside and you're walking, you're freezing, but you're walking by a building and you're walking down the street. And what happens is that the wind is so harsh that when you turn the corner, the wind comes, calls you a bitch ass nigga, and then keeps going. You know, the thing about the wind is like it happens in Black History Month, so you kind of have to let it happen, I guess. You know, if any other month did it, they would get canceled. But apparently not Pride Month in June. It's gay, so apparently it's fine. Um, that's just something. That's just something I noticed right off the bat. But one thing that I'm looking forward in the year 2021 is that I am trans. And I feel I should mention for a lot of my cishet audiences, I explained that I look the way I do because my father is a native Chicagoan and my mom is Dennis Rodman. So I make that as simple as I can for people who want to follow. But I just started taking hormones, and that was really something for me. I started taking hormones, the mood swings have already started. And what I love is when people start talking to me, mostly cis men, even pre-pandemic, even before I started taking hormones, sometimes they would try to come up to me. And I gotta tell you, I did not notice how shitty cis men are until they started treating me the same way they treat cis women. But sure enough, they come up. They're like, what's good, shawty? Let me talk to you. Let me holler at you for a second. Let me holler at you for a second. And then I hit them with this. What's good, fool? What's up? You want to talk some shit? Yeah. Estrogen will give me tits, but it won't change my voice. Did I hear I had 1 minute? Halfway? Okay. And another thing is that, of course, more affirming things that I can change right off the bat that won't take too much time is my name. Now, my name is KJ Whitehead, so that's my stage name, and my name off stage. But what's different is what the K and J stand for. Let me preface this a bit. Number one, you should never, I mean never, ask a trans person their dead name. Number two, not only will I tell you my dead name, I'll let you know just how dedicated I am to being Black and with all my Blackness. Number one, my dead name is Kyle Joseph Whitehead. Legally, that's what everyone knows me as. And I traded in the whitest name in the English language for Coochie Chakulia Juniper Whitehead. So when white people say Coochie Chakulia 3 times fast, their racist grandparents have a stroke. But do you know what Coochie Chakulia means? No, it is, Coochie Chakulia is Swahili. It's the second day of Kwanzaa. It's Swahili for self-determination. I am so dedicated to my Blackness that I was so self-determined to never get hired for another job again based on my name. And for this last thing, I want to say that we have the trial that was going on with, he who would not be named Voldemort or Trump, what have you. And I find that the riot that took place on January 6th was definitely a rough one, where we even saw a police officer getting beaten by an American flag, which I would lie if I said it didn't amuse me. But what I do want to say is that a lot of those folks who are protesting are worried about losing their jobs. And having lost my job because of the pandemic myself, I understand that feeling. But maybe they didn't have to worry about that. Or maybe they didn't have to worry about being recognized at the protest if they just worn a fucking mask like we told them to. Those pieces of shit, get fucked, you absolute cunts. With all of that said, my name is KJ Whitehead. I am also Queer Lady K on Twitch. I will be streaming right after this show is done. And Burn Everything Tees is my merch. Please purchase it. I will see you all again, hopefully another night. Have a good night. Take care of yourselves and each other.
I don't wonder. KJ, that was incredible. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Wow, you touched on so many topics in such a short time. I think that's sort of one of the themes for tonight. We're going to be showing M's piece, and it's a series of vignettes. I guess that makes me wonder, when you're constructing a set or your jokes together, what's your process for approaching that? Is it just kind of what's going on, or do you have an overarching theme you're trying to approach?
It's what's going on. It's also just depends on like how many times I've also been on the show. I don't like doing the same material over and over again if people have already seen me before. But yeah, basically is what's going on, what I would like to work on, how I'm feeling. Sometimes I've had nights where I just threw out everything that I had planned on doing for the night in a show because something new just happened. And then I had to address that.
Yeah, we've definitely been there. We tried to throw together a special real fast when the Capitol riots did happen. We were like, oh crap, we got to do something. We have a show tonight or tomorrow or whatever it is. Let's put something together. Do you find that more successful or at least more fun? Because I think part of us felt like we failed because we rushed to put something together.
I'll put it like this. I'll never run out of material. So that's well, here's the thing. Even on January 6th, I actually have a show that I run with burlesque performer Mo West and also Natalie Hazek, who's the house manager of the Backline Comedy Club in Omaha, Nebraska. We have a show called Radical Rambunctious. And the night of that show that we had planned months ahead just so happened to be the same day as the riot. So that was an interesting day, but we would like to think that our show was also a bit of an escape for a little while.
What did you end up doing? So it was a burlesque show. How did you change that or modify that for the current events?
I mean, I have a brand. I'm known as the Queen of Radical Comedy. And even when I want to do material that has nothing to do with politics, it's kind of hard to get away from that. But like, so any jokes I had about it kind of came through. Like one that I thought was, I don't know why the Proud Boys are so proud. Apparently they can find proof of voter fraud, but they still can't find the clitoris.
Ben Shapiro doesn't know what a pussy's supposed to be like.
But yeah, it's just I had to sprinkle that in there and also try to. It wasn't just burlesque. We had other comedians as well, and just other acts. We had some avant-garde stuff, weird stuff that y'all will be able to see again on March 3rd. It's our second Radical Rambunctious show.
Fantastic. If you don't mind me asking, so you mentioned being trans and identity. I guess as a cis man, I think I don't know what to do with my identity. I feel very bland, and I often don't feel like I can express myself. And tonight's show, there's a lot of talk about identity and changing the way that we present ourselves. And right now, especially, we're all wearing a lot of masks, literally, as well as conceptually. So I guess, what's your relationship with identity? How is that important to you? How do you find your peace in your identity? Because I don't think I've come to terms with my own, in that sense, that I think I'm just kind of wearing the skin and I just kind of move through this world.
Well, I find it's just an identity is how I'm most comfortable. Example, if you feel that, hey, I'm a man, I'm this, I'm cool with it, and I like this, cool. But it's just, with me, I find it odd. as a Black trans woman who also considers herself a lesbian, I find myself in a place where I don't feel like I can connect with anyone. And if I can, they seem so far away. We are all scattered out, and sometimes we go our entire lives without anyone knowing who we really are. I guess when it came down to me, to put it, to make it, to speed through this because I know we're on a time crunch, but where identity came into it to me was when I was about 15 or 16. I was in the closet about my sexuality, and then I told a friend who was on the wrestling team with me in high school. And I ended up in a scrimmage. I ended up beating that friend in a match, and they were so embarrassed that a freshman had beaten him, a sophomore. He outed me to the entire school.
Oh no!
So when it comes down to privacy and identity, the thing about it is I just don't feel the need to hide anymore, because if I'm going to be denied that privacy, I might as well just let it all hang out, figuratively speaking, of course. Well, literally too, because there are nudes of me on Instagram.
That's awesome, KJ. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate that. Before we get out of here, I just want to make sure I plug all of your material. KJ's selling shirts and other merch. Go to burneverything.threadless.com. Conservatives are fucking useless. Go buy that shirt. Check out their website. You can buy that. Also, her comedy album is on Spotify, The Haggard Unicorn. Go give that a listen. And last, but certainly not least, check out her Twitch, Queer Lady K. She's going to be playing some games. What kind of games do you like to play?
These days, I love playing Among Us. I love playing Resident Evil 7 to celebrate Resident Evil 8 coming out in May. And I'm playing Fall Guys, sometimes Dead by Daylight, games like that.
Sweet. All right. Well, thank you so much, KJ. I think we're gonna move on over to introduce the featured presentation, M. Haverty and a Show for Ghosts. Show for Ghosts is a 22-minute sketch comedy video EP. It was written and performed by M. Haverty and co-directed with James Medley, filmed at a forest preserve and produced entirely in the second half of 2020. Show for Ghosts is a collection of sketches focusing on optimism, anger, and burning it all down. Without further ado, I'm going to sit back, grab some popcorn, drink my beer, sip my whiskey, and enjoy this video. Think of some questions, because we've got M and the director joining us after this. Sound off in the chat. I want to hear you screaming with your keyboards. Hopefully positive stuff. Only positive stuff. That's the only thing we allow here. Positivity. Sound it off, and let's do it.
Why is there so much hate in the world? How does one live ethically today? Where do minions come from? Like shamanically? Am I a nice person? Or do I just not feel comfortable expressing anger? Will my generation live to see their grandchildren? Will there be a civil war? Do you think the Egyptian goddess Isis is mad because, you know? What did— Spiders! 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 No! No! Oh! Oh! Wow! Oh. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah. What did we do to manifest minions? Did I really need to walk in the middle of the two paths? Like, I get it, it's a potent image, but at what cost? Spiders? Yeah, the cost was spiders. Will my generation get to live? What did we forsake in non-ordinary reality and hidden realms to be given minions? Like, I don't care if they're not relevant anymore. They exist, and my brain needs to figure out why. In the year 2020, why do we fear clowns and not minions? Is it because clowns have genitals? Do minions have genitals? Is the god worshipped in the 1994 teen witch drama The Craft real? Is it wrong to play the field spiritually? Did the god worshipped in The Craft become real? Is it not argued theologically that we invite the divine and imbue it in all that we create? So wouldn't that mean that the hundreds of teen goths who reenacted rituals from The Craft at sleepovers throughout the 90s made Mano a legit deity? Mano, the god worshipped in The Craft by Nev Campbell and the shining star of these southwest suburbs of Chicago, Robin Tunney.
Dear gods and spirits of the land, it's me, here again. Just checking in, seeing, things are pretty bad here. So if I was just wondering if you want to come down, like any one of you, I'm not picky. I'm sure you're doing your thing. I know, divine plan, all that. Yeah, just like, oh, light, give us strength, and also just like healthcare, general income would be so sick of you. Gods, stop fires where there shouldn't be fire. And also just like, man, I just feel like there's a lot that we could do that is just not happening. And it's, okay. I am also, I'm putting on a show. It's just a small little sketch thing. It's nothing. But no, it is something. It is gonna be like a sincere thing, and it's gonna have puppets, and it's gonna have music. We welcome you into the space. Oh, Mano. Do you need non-emergency assistance? Can't trust the police? Hi, I'm a member of PANK, the Punk Anarchists of Nurturing Kindness. We at PANK aim to create a better world by serving the public without a gun. Us punks at PANK are tired of the bad press anarchists get nowadays. We are not some violent agitators out to destroy the state. The state is more than capable of destroying itself. Here is just a fraction of the services we offer. Walking alone at night and need safety in numbers? We'll join you, dang it. Need help unionizing your workplace? Dang it, we'll do it. Need help abolishing the police state? It will dang do. No fraternal order of silence. No violent escalations. No bullplop. We're just people in jean vests doing our jean best. Don't trust the court system? Me neither. That's why I bring all my disputes to PANK Court. Bring us your dispute, and a PANK will be assigned to your case, acting as a King Solomon-like honor-bound figure with wits, wisdom, and a keister without quit. Each of our cases end with a just decision and a clear path towards restorative justice. And each ruling comes with our PANK guarantee. If one of our judges is found bias and prejudice in their decision-making, we promise we will not be cops about it. We'll hold them accountable, we'll strip them of their rank, and we won't let them back until they repair their trust with the community. We believe in complete transparency with the public because not having it is fucked up. What's in it for us Panks? Well, we like the warmth and rebellious joy that comes from serving our common folk. And also, we're weird. I am a weird person. Are you a weird person too? Do you have marketable skills with anti-market interests? Then join your local Pank chapter today. And in the meantime...
1, 2, 3! If you need a helping hand or to litigate, call Panks for your help and subvert the state.
In the time we've spent together, you've likely noticed some changes in my appearance. Some of you might be frustrated or confused by the way that I look and act. But you needn't worry. Luckily for you and me, I am under no obligation to make sense to you. In fact, nothing in this world owes you explanation or justification for existing. Which is pretty neat. Our comprehension of this very moment is built upon billions of years of our collective curiosity. Here we are, after thousands of years, and still, we don't know what we don't know. And even if we did know everything, myself and the rest of the world still owes you no debt of understanding. Sure, we know more than we did 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, or heck, even a week ago. Yet, you and I can still only hope that the sun rises tomorrow. Man, oh willing. All things considered, anything that you are worried about, or frustrated about, or confused about in this very moment is small potatoes. Cool.
Greet the audience with high energy! I'm angry now. Which intrigues the audience. I'm angry at the same thing that the audience is angry at, but with a small twist. We all get high off this anger! We all get high off this anger. We all get high off this anger! The audience now understands that anger is in fact my entire personality. I like being known. I act this way because if I keep impressing people in this circuit, I can float my way to the middle. Plus, I can easily thrive in any toxic workplace or institution fueled by scarcity, fear, and Lorne Michaels. This is the part where I tell you about who hurt me, I aspire to make someone else so angry that they write a think piece about my edgy jokes. Gay joke, sex joke, dating is hard. I vaguely reference an ethnic stereotype, and I assure the audience that I'm not racist, though I am followed by a surprising amount of white supremacists.
I make you feel insecure so I can feel safe.
Transphobic joke. I wish I could stop telling that transphobic joke, but the booker here really likes it.
A brand new transphobic joke nobody asked for.
I'm on this stage because I couldn't spend the rest of my life as some people-pleasing cog tucked away in an office. This baby's gotta be a cog for the funny. I have endured unchecked abuse to get to where I am today, and you better believe I'm gonna perpetuate that cycle. Yeah, I'm soulless. Yeah, I'm empty. Yeah, I'm in pain. I'm bobbing around this stage like a minion with genitals. One day I'm gonna be rolling in the Rogan Rubles, the Stanho Smackaroos, the Burbucks. As a stand-up, I know that I'll either die the hero or I'll watch myself become that high-pitched voice Jim Gaffigan uses. I've earned your trust with my angry persona. I'm rebelling against the abusive parental figures by repeating their same language to a room of strangers. You and I both see this as therapeutic.
In actuality, I am re-traumatizing myself like 9 times a week in hopes of opening up for a comedy hero. When I'm off this stage, I will see a comedy hero of mine hitting on a person new to the scene.
They'll say that the new person is really funny. The comedy hero will keep buying that new person drinks, while me and the other less established comedians try not to think about how our silence makes us desirable to a scene that protects predators. But, you know, stand-up comedians are the philosophers of our time. To quote Socrates, "Listen, Plato, I don't come down to where I groom you and slap my dick out of your mouth." What? Dating is hard. Whose personality here is also based on old broken heroes. What you don't know is that I'm great at impersonations. Of course, a person of obvious and demonstrable talent should be influential. Of course, they should be given the opportunity to create award-winning television shows and comedy specials or a movie every year for 50 years. Of course, their material focused on their humility has helped us connect with our humanity. But maybe if you use your status to ruin the careers of the people you sexually assaulted, you shouldn't have a career. Maybe if you abuse your power while still clinging to this persona of the put-upon schlub, maybe you should go away. Maybe you should only come back once you figure out why you hurt people, you idiot. I snap out of my fugue state and I see the host flashing me the light. I thank my audience for being adequately permissive. Thank you. Have a great night.
I am running while I'm shitting as I pass through Valhalla. I am shitting while I'm running and the Norse gods are laughing at me? Come on, guys, Odin intones. Yeah, it is funny. Give them a break. Earth, water, fire, air. It's weighing down my tights. Earth, water, fire, air. It feels like warm custard. I leave the realm of gods, but my home is still a few blocks away. There is no place to torpedo these pipe pickles. The moon pulls my tides. My girl wiener bobs like a buoy in a sea of beans. I am leaking into the abyss, and the abyss is sloshing back. I duck into an alley and discover an audience of patios and porches all the way up, all the way down. There is no way I can foresee what this moment holds. I am in the palm of the divine, caked and unwashed, showing me the sins and stains of my lineage, reading futures through fecalmancy. There is no future that we can see without looking at where we began. Specks of dirt, floating, rolling, manifesting right now where I stand, a scat mountain, covered in shit, not here for long. Everything must go onto this pavement. As I squat, the tights split. And yet, I hear no splash. I hear but only the resounding echo of festival, the cheers from the patios, from strangers, my neighbors, and ancestors surrounding me, protecting me, inviting me, for I am not alone. For the mud of the covenant is thicker than the water pouring out of my ass. Sacred, profane, and without quits. And so I leave you with this blessing. May you see yourself in the stars, the million dots of laughing matter we touch with a tide pen over a milky light sink.
I'm not dead. I had it coming. Spoon and got his eye and whatnot. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Karma, you got me.
I've got
smooches for my pooches, and I got kisses for my misses. I got Frenches for my matches, and those outside and in between. I've been smitten by a kitten, I've been cuddled to befuddled. I'm distracted, cause I'm attracted, and I think you like me back. But when the pain I've caused won't go away, these are the words I've learned to say. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I love you, love you. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I love you, love you, love you. love you.
That was Show for Ghosts by M. Haverty. Stand by, we're about to bring M and director James Medley in to talk about it, what we saw, what's going on, what were they talking about, what should we feel, what did you feel? Let us know in the chat. M. Haverty is a multidisciplinary writer and performer influenced by Chicago's DIY art and experimental comedy scene. They like making funny works that explore sincerity and the absurd, and the absurdity and the sincere. And director James Medley is a Chicago-based autodidactical polymath making the niche music and videos using the least amount of money possible. I think I can definitely relate to that. This show costs no money. It's all on screens. It's all inside the computer. But without further ado, I'm pleased to bring M. Haverty and James Medley into the open studio. M, James, thank you so much for doing the show.
Hey.
You approached us, you sent this to us kind of coldly on Facebook, and Stephanie immediately picked it up and she started watching it, and she was just like, Michael, we have to put this on the show. I don't know how we're going to do this, but we have to put this on the show. And I'm so glad we've had this opportunity. So I think to kick it off, though, you use this word sincerity a lot, and this is a really important word to me, and so that's another reason why I'm so glad we have this opportunity to talk, and I want to know what that means to you. I think in the world today, especially with social media and the way things get produced, people aren't sincere in what they do. They don't mean what they say, and they don't say what they mean. So what does sincerity mean to you, and why is that so important to bring that out in your work?
Man, for me, I personally in my life struggle with sincerity. It is so easy to not be sincere, and it's comfortable. And I spent a lot of my life just working on comedy and working with performance, and I had this thought of just like, well, if I can't be like sincere in myself on stage, like where the fuck am I going to do it? So when I started writing, the last few years, I've been writing just like more storytelling things, things within the DIY scene, just because I could do more like stand up that was more like give me some leeway. Like it didn't have to be less per second or whatever. With developing this voice, it's a matter of being able to know that I said what I meant, which coming from, from coming out and kind of just walking around this world, learning to value those times when you can be sincere, or where sincerity can come easily.
Absolutely. And I think James, you did such a wonderful job of I think the visual voice was so consistent with what M put together and what M wrote and performed. It's so consistent that it's almost as if M shot it herself. And I think that speaks to your relationship with sincerity and displaying this earnestly. So James, can you talk about that process working with M on this and bringing this vision to the screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's exactly kind of what I was going for, really. So you hit the nail on the head. Kudos to you. Great viewer. But yeah, I have a leg up, this, we've worked together and known each other for years and years and years. So it was just, it was like putting on an old hat and just being like, yeah, like I purposefully kept like my shot lists and everything very minimal. And we went in each day just like, we poured over the script. Don't get that part wrong. Like I was almost as word perfect as M was. Just cause like I had to know like what the emotional like journey was at any given moment, so that like when we got to the set, it was very like free form. I could see how they were performing in a certain way and kind of adjust to that. I tried to keep like really close in there as much as possible. That's like a little visual trick. I don't know, just like the actual distance of the camera, you feel closer and can relate. And that was like ultimately my goal, is like I wanted it to feel homemade, and I wanted it to feel like you were kind of just there with a friend, like walking you through comedically these ideas that are like, I'm still processing this stuff, and I like help make it. Like I'm still thinking about all the material here. It's such a dearth, but I read it and I was like, people need to see this. So it was just really just a joy to spend those days in the muck.
Speaking of material, M, how much of this was written before the current times, like before pre-COVID, and what made you choose the bits that you chose to put into this piece?
The only thing that was written before COVID was AstroTurf. And that was written, yeah. And that was written originally as for an audition packet for the Neo-Futurists. And like I had the audition like end of February, and I didn't get it, and I was like, there's no way this year can get any worse. This is crushing. Well. So like towards the end of filming, I thought like, oh man, there are other things that I had written that I could just do, so I didn't have to freak out over this script. But like I think there was a part of the wanting to be genuine in like, it would be weird for me to do something that was like 2-3 years old that like might age well, but this is a very specific time. So
absolutely,
like all of the topics have been things that I have written about in the past. Like the metaphysics in the opening, and just that kind of like run throughout. The poem is like the topics in there beyond shit, and even actually the time is inspired by an actual time that I shit myself, but that was in April of 2020, so everything remained to 2020.
You're not going to get that from any other public figure out here. They're never going to tell you about the time they shit themselves. And this is the sincerity that M. Haverty can bring to the table.
Are you listening, future politicians? Admit to shitting yourself. We've all done it at least once. Own up
Everyone's
to it.
Done it.
You've got our votes.
You want us to stop thinking you're inhuman? Just tell us about the times. Michael's got the right idea.
Wow, I've got all these questions, and it's so hard to pick what to ask next.
Let's go.
Well, there was an audience question. What was your favorite vignette from this whole thing? What was your what was your favorite? What's your favorite now? What was your favorite to do and perform? I don't know. What's your favorite?
I like AstroTurf because I'm a sucker for a pun ending. Just this, and like just the physicality of it, and like you don't know where this thing is going to go. Like you have this one, like if I'm just gonna get up in my butt about comedy for a second, like you don't know where this thing is going to go, and the container just keeps expanding until it is just like outside of any practicality or any practical effects after being very meticulous. Just a nerd out on that. I mean, otherwise, I fucking love the words and shit in a poem.
Yeah, for that piece, so I wrote down, so I went to fine art school. I'm not a comedian. I went to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, and that's the kind of shit we made. Like, that's the kind of shit we made. And I thought it was hilarious, but I thought it was funny for completely different reasons than other people did. I'm not sure I know how you actually intended for that to read, because I saw it as a really... Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
I think you saw it. No, I think you saw. No, I want to hear what you had to say because I think you saw it. I think. Well,
like, because I think it was a sincere attempt at performance art and that kind of cinema, while still being a little tongue in cheek. Like, I thought the performance art aspect of it was really well done. I thought the poem was earnest and sincere, but had some jokes in it, you know? And I think that part of why I loved that so much was the people I went to school with, they had their sticks so far up their butt that they were like, this is precious. You can't make fun of this. Like, I'm serious. Like, look at me smoke cigarettes and watch leaves blow in the wind. Like, I don't give a shit, you know? And you actually had something to say. And it was also beautiful and insightful. It made me introspect. So yeah, I don't know. That's my take. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
On the filmmaking side, like, you got it. Like, yeah, I went to film school. I went to film school for like 2 semesters, long enough to make the first film. So I made my first film and I put it up, and I noticed that like nobody was making like narratively comedic films that were just kind of like, you know, beginning, middle, end. We're going to tell you, you're going to go on this journey with these characters, and there's going to be gags and goofs, but it's going to touch on some like bigger ideas. And it got like the most tepid response ever. And then someone made something like that poem thing, and it was just like picked apart. They talked about it for like 25 minutes. Everyone had something to say about it, and like everyone had an interpretation and all that stuff. And like, I'm not trying to like shit on all that, because I think there's as you can tell, it's like it's a faithful, I'm trying to do it right. And like, that's of course up to the audience. Like, if I captured it, I appreciate that you said that. I kind of did. But yeah, it's very much like, I got the script for the poem, and I saw it. And I was like, what are we doing with this? Like, are we gonna show poo? Like, what is it gonna be? And I kid you not, like, it feels that way, and it ended up that way because like M just was like, roll tape, and this is what we're gonna do. And they just did that. And so what you're seeing is like me having filmed that, what happens in that for like 10.5 minutes straight, and then being like, what is here? Like, what is this? Like, they weren't even performing it to the poem. Like, we just rolled tape for like 10.5 minutes. And as I'm sitting there putting it together, like, there's a story. There is an arc here. I was sitting there watching it like, what the fuck is happening? And then as I'm like, so it's like, it ended up being the most pure form of what those types of movies are like actively trying to do. Like, we just did it on accident. And that's why it's so like kind of sincere, I think, maybe. Cause but M like, now that we're like live in front of people, and we only have a couple minutes here though, but like, what the fuck was going through your head? Like during that, like, well, I've never asked you. We stopped rolling and we kind of just moved on, because like, that's how low budget shit goes. Like, you only got so much light in the day, and you're just trying to get it. Please tell us all.
And that was like end of day. That was like All right, like, what are we gonna do for this? We found a pumpkin. What else? Yeah, we found that pumpkin at the forest preserve.
We found that pumpkin that day.
Yeah, so pretty much what was going on in my head is like I fucking love movement classes. That's actually like how I first started getting like in contact with my body. And like kind of, you know, a bit of like the more, I don't know, like just awakening with my own identity, because it was like actually having to be cognizant of my body. And like in those classes, a lot of them, again, with the neo-futurists, it was like a very like queering experience for me. So like really for that dance, for that movement piece, it was a lot
It is like a dance
of the trans experience. It was a lot of like, a lot of, you know, some struggle. I mean, there's a part where that was just like, we didn't use it, but it was like, I was like inching, I run and I jump onto the table and then I inch off to the side of it like a worm. And it was just kind of like, you know, when it's, you know, the thing of like when you're doing it, just like, oh yeah, I'm a caterpillar now. You know, it's, you know,
you were that caterpillar though.
Transient identity, you know, like energy thing. And then like, I don't know, I'm driving home and I'm like, oh man, I should have put on like music. Or like the audio of the poem or something. And it was so funny.
I love the way it turned out though. Like
yeah, same.
I couldn't believe it.
It's like, what is this like?
So I don't mean to cut this off. We're running out of time, so I want to make sure we touch a lot on a couple more things. But as you were trying to sort of emulate that kind of that fine art film aesthetic and comment on it while also taking advantage of it, I can't help but talk about the stand-up bit. Where you're referencing and commenting on stand-up, what it is, what those formulas are. And I got to hear you guys talking in while the film was playing and what your thoughts and your feelings were, and I want to get to that. But when I was watching it, it's meta comedy, and I think that's really interesting. And you're making a comment on the way some stand-ups choose to perform, that there is this formula that's very easy to fall into, and we're very familiar with it, and it does work, and that's a choice, and I think that's fine. But you did it in such a way that I don't think you used any of those tropes in the entire piece, which I thought was very impressive. Like the piece as a whole, from start to finish, I don't think you used any of those tropes. And then you were also able to address it and comment on the comedians in a sincere way, where where you weren't making fun of them. Like you were able to comment on the toxic comedian without being toxic yourself. And that really resonated with me, and it made me think of Tina Fey's portrayal of Sarah Palin. And in her interview with David Letterman, she talked about why that was successful, or at least why she thought that was successful. And it wasn't this idea of punching up or punching down. It was because she had respect for Sarah Palin. She had empathy for Sarah Palin, and that her depiction of her was done through love. And so I don't know. So how does that relate to how you chose to comment on the state of comedy, stand-up comedians, specifically straight white cis male comedians? I think that's kind of the topic of this. So what was your approach to that? How did you bring that in there? And then lastly, y'all were talking about how that's the piece that gave you the most fear, and you still can't believe you did that. So I know that's a lot, and I'm throwing that all at you, but yeah. I thought it was a very insightful and interesting piece.
Thank you. And for me, a big part of this, as we were like, you know, reiterating, and like, you know, a big shout out to, you know, everyone involved in this process, like for just pretty much going through all these drafts of just like, this is the thing, right?
Yeah.
For me,
we haven't said their names yet, but Melanie, Kim Salton, Melanie Ramsey Murphy, like none of this happens without those two either. Like they were there, they were reading
should have a
like
yeah.
Kim Salton and you spent hours and hours acting and stuff, you know. So shout out to them. Sorry it was so late. Love y'all.
Yeah, love y'all. So for that, you know, I did have this deep empathy. Because like that was me. I thought I was that person until I wasn't. And I tried incredibly hard to fit into that mold, which I was never going to fit into, and thank God, because that wasn't for me. And I really don't think that mold is for most of the people who are doing it, you know, like, and that is kind of what boggles my mind about comedy, is that when you bring a formula into something that is ultimately something that is supposed to challenge an institution, you're just furthering something that is beyond yourself, that isn't really speaking to you. That's for an industry. And I have nothing but like love for the road comic who decided like, I'm going to make my life doing this. But I have to hold contempt for any sort of scene that they might have like been complicit to. It was something that came up also with filming on the day. One of the people they were filming, another great friend, Justin Gaynor, was like, well, don't you like you know, like, we're not supposed to empathize with this person. We're supposed to we don't like this person. I'm like, yeah, but like, nah, you gotta, that's what sucks about it, because like you have to love this person to some extent. Like, and like it's just like this, like having to like unpack this, like, yeah, you know, like, you know, stand-up's fucking dumb, but also it's like all these really great human beings and people, and like even the people that aren't like, would be hard to say like, oh yeah, great human being, are still people, and you know, they're part of a wider culture. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's kind of the essence of being sincere, and having empathy for one another is acknowledging that we're all human despite our flaws, despite our fuck ups. We're all just trying to move through this earth and have a peaceful life and do the best that we can. Yes, you got something to say. I know we got to try and wrap it up, but what do you got, Em?
I know. But that is one of the running themes throughout the show, is the need for forgiveness. Panks is a lot about restorative justice, and just like this call of like, no, you can't just throw people aside. Like, we need to figure this out, and we could do it through kindness. And, you know, there's so much that is just that just runs underneath the surface of the show. That's just like the challenge of trying to hold contempt for something while also knowing that it like does nothing, that you need to let that go in order to like heal and change.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Real quick, this is a part of Cluster Cuss. I know you mentioned you wanted to make sure you plugged that. You were just talking about a lot of people. So briefly, whether it's Em or James, can you real quick give us the spiel on clustercuss.tv?
Yeah, clustercuss.tv. We're like a collective of creators. There's like 5 of us: me, Kim Salton, Melanie Ramsey Murphy, Justin Gaynor, Nate Manjaro. I love saying his name. But yeah, we hang out and we try and make stuff like this. One of the big things I kind of wanted to get out there, we do have like a contact form and stuff like that. And we're like always looking to just collaborate with people. We do all this stuff just because we like doing it. And we put our all into it. So like, come say what's up. Hey, I got an idea for a video. Like, maybe we'll try and figure out how to make it for you. Like, let's go.
Same goes for the open studio. It sounds like we're gonna be in touch.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, and like, it's just a DIY ethos, no hate kind of shit, and let's get weird. Like, that's, I think one of the quotes that keeps getting rubbed in my face internally business wise was like last year at some point I said like, there's gonna be weird stuff. And so everyone's just kind of like, when is it gonna get weird? And I was like, well, did you not see like the poem in like the M thing? We've been making some weird shit.
All right. Well, thank you so much, James. Em, any final words before we sign off?
No, just thank you all for watching. Thank you, Michael and Stephanie, for showing this. That's super awesome. And yeah, thank you. And thank you, KJ Whitehead.
Yeah, and thank you. And thank you to all the other producers.
KJ blew my mind.
All right, I'm going to cut away from y'all, and I'm going to close out the show. We will be hanging out after the show. So if you want to talk to us and get to know Em and James and KJ a little bit more, I don't know if KJ is going to be hopping off sooner rather than later to start their stream. And if she does, we'll hit that host button, or we'll go raid you, KJ. We could do that for you. I think that could be kind of fun. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming out for our first, hopefully the first of many, Open Studio Presents. We had KJ Whitehead as our opener, M. Haverty, and James Medley. Once again, Jackie Manti and Stephanie Duffy did our virtual performance dimensions. Michael Gow did our intro. I've been your host and director, Michael J. Garrity. You can find us all on social media. We're down below in the comments. We're in the chat. You can find us on the Discord. Make sure you do that. If you want to appear on this screen, have your work highlighted, featured, we want to showcase you. We want to give you a platform. Definitely hit us up. Find us on Discord. We're always open and available. Next Thursday, our variety show returns. The Open Studio. Our host, Jason Melton, is back February 18th, 2021 at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hit that follow button so you know when this goes live. We've got Angel Garcia with stand-up, and I think we're going to see some magic. We've got music by Ryan, and Zach Bartz will be live painting throughout the entire show. So you're not going to want to miss that one. I think it's going to be a real banger. Once again, you can find us on Discord, and we will be hanging out right after this immediately on Zoom. We're going to release those creds. Thank you all so much for coming out. Drop us a follow if you haven't already, and I hope to see you soon. Have a good night.
Seems like every time I set a reminder, phones on silent, make me blue ultraviolet. All I wanna do is share, maybe get a like. You can keep your digits, I just want your website. Go with the signals, go with the night. Ride the wave, cosign and fade. Signals fading, edges mating, icons waiting, emojis taking grip on the internet. She caught me internet busting loose, naked, must have been deuce. I'm faking, googly goo, Febreze. It's so easy, please see. Wi-Fi, warm and weed, that's what I need. Need the Wi-Fi in my life, I all set to connect.